My husband wants me to make breakfast for his coworkers 3 to 4 times a week before they go to work. I am not the oop. Oopie is you throwaway break. My husband wants me to make breakfast for his coworkers 3 to 4 times a week before they go to work. Trigger warning. Misogyny, verbal abuse, exploitation. Original post Nov 2 2015. We have been married for almost 4 months. My husband works a fairly lucrative office job and is a great help with the finances and bills for our house, while I tackle a BA at college at the moment. For that I am very grateful, and I love him very much, and we are generally happy with the marriage. However, about 2 months ago he asked me if I would not mind preparing breakfast for him and a couple of coworkers a few times a week. Of course I agreed, because I know how rushed things can be in the mornings for some people, and I was glad to see my husband fraternizing with his colleagues. Also, we have a beautiful home and it is always nice to have people over for meals. I get along with his coworkers very well for the most part, which is a plus. This has been going on for 2 months and I did not used to mind it much at first, but I feel that a couple of mornings a week has turned into nearly the entire week, and it is too much for me. Getting up early and preparing eggs, bacon, multiple pots of coffee when there are more than just a couple of coworkers over, and occasionally stuff like pancakes and French toast. I attend night classes several nights a week and do not get a chance to sleep in as much as I would like to. How do I respectfully tell my husband to tone it down a little with these morning visits without hurting his or his coworkers' feelings? I do not want to jeopardize his relationship with the people at work and do not want to push him or our visitors away. It has just become too much for me. TL Doctor, my husband, who I love very much, asked me to make breakfast for him and his coworkers a couple of days a week. 2 months later, this has become more frequent and is starting to disrupt my own schedule. How do I tell him I want to take a break from this without hurting his feelings? Relevant comments. Lonnie Lee 3. Why cannot your husband prepare these breakfasts? Oopie, admittedly, I am a better cook than him and I never mind making both of us meals in the morning. Honestly, if it was just him I could do it for the rest of my life, but it is not just him, and I cannot do it anymore. And he simply has no time in the morning as he has to get ready and be in the office by 8 am. Miss Elizabeth, this makes no sense to me. Does your husband own this office, or is he just being TM nice guy to his coworkers by making his wife be June Cleaver? Hand him a box of cereal. This is 2015. He can make his own breakfast. Oopie, he does not own his own office. They all work in the same office and essentially have the same job. Our home is close to the office, and he likes to boast about my famous breakfasts, which is not a big deal when it is just him and I, or him and a couple of colleagues and once in a while. But 3 to 4 times a week is not sustainable for me anymore. Do they compensate for the food? Since my husband pays for 80 the groceries, it would be unfair of me to charge for food that is essentially not mine. Do they help clean? Nope, I have to do all the dishes after they leave. Pots, pans, bowls, dishes, cups, coffee mugs, and clean out the expensive coffee machine we have. Every morning. What is this costing? The breakfasts run us back anywhere from $280 to $350 a week. With my husband's salary, we are more than covered on that front. Money is absolutely no object when it comes to the breakfast parties. Update Nov 6 2015. 4 days later. Hello everyone, I want to thank all of you who helped me out and gave me great advice and sympathy in the original thread. I had mentioned several times that I was going to sit down with my husband this Saturday and have a stern talk, but I am sure a lot of you will be pleased to know it happened much sooner. I decided to stay home from night class on Wednesday night so that I could speak to him as soon as he arrived from work. He was very surprised to see me still in the house, as we have night class every night of the week. I brought up many good points from the thread and told him how it made me all feel. I told him the 3 to 4 breakfast parties a week and coworkers' visits through the day were keeping me from focusing on my studies, and that thinking of a menu every morning was stressful and gave me anxiety. Also, the tapping on the window from random visits by his colleagues made me feel unsafe as well. These were all points brought up by Redditors in the thread, and a lot of things I had never thought about myself. There were tears and some loud moments, the first time this has happened since we have been together. But when I told him I had made a thread on Reddit, he went absolutely ballistic. He did not get to see the thread. At that point, I went to our bedroom and confined myself to the bed. A couple of hours later, he came in, got in bed, and said that he was very disappointed in me, and that was that. Yesterday morning, Thursday, everything was the same as usual. He woke up smiling and radiant as always, and got ready for work quicker than usual. He came out to the kitchen while I was making the breakfast for the day, and told me that he was glad every